Hey, crypto traders, checking in on the sector. Since we last checked in, Bitcoin bulls confirming the daily trend change, but not a whole lot of follow through. Is that our weekly lower high already being set? We'll look at what the bulls have to do to prove it to us, what the bears have to do to prove it to us, and we'll keep an eye on miners and stocks for clues. So here's the Bitcoin daily time frame. We have a confirmed trend change with a clear higher low and higher high on the break of 35.5 thousand. So a couple things to look at first, and then we'll go into the current price action. There were clues that we were looking at as far as a potential break, and I'm just talking about going into the night of June 28th, because we had two scenarios that were going to play out: a bull break or a rejection and continued daily equilibrium. That day, June 28th, our crypto stocks, whether it was MSTR, June 28th, big green candle closing at the high of the day, whether it was Coinbase here, big green candle closing at the high of the day, MARA, which is a miner, closed near the high of the day, and Riot closed near the high of the day. So it was notable that all of the stocks were stronger than Bitcoin itself. And that little observation was a major factor for me personally, increasing my probabilities that we were likely to break resistance. So what I did in response to that is entered a position on this 4-hour consolidation. We talked about that last video, didn't we? We did. So I talked about the aggressive position that I added, and that play worked out, obviously. That being said, even though it was a successful trade, I did not have a great entry, because if we look at how it played out, my entry was into resistance on the way up. And if I had waited and acted a bit more patiently, I believe it was here. So I entered here on the way up, and I believe my break even was 34, we'll just call it 34.8, probably just under that. And my stop was under 33.8. And had I had been patient and waited and saw the rejection and then entered off of support, just think of the risk to reward. If I'm in my aggressive position and I'm risking $1,000 before stopping out, $1,000 move of Bitcoin, if I even just wait for $500 drop, I can have twice the size of the position with the same amount of risk. And if I really was patient and bottom fished 33.8, I mean, I could have had 4 times the size of the position with the same amount of dollar risk. So my entry was premature and the trade worked out. So I was fortunate in that regard, but there's still things to reflect back upon and say, okay, I could have done this differently or done this better. So my scale out strategy, it was just exit a quarter on the break of 35.3, exit a quarter on the break of 36,000, exit a quarter on the loss of the hourly uptrend, which happened at 35.9. And I still have a quarter at this point because I was using the 4-hour uptrend as my guide. And we never really set a convincing 4-hour high or low. So if we get a bounce playing out right now, which we're going to look at a 15-minute falling wedge trying to form, if this bounce plays out, my stop is going to go under 33.8, which is a bit of a double bottom. We're just above that level right now. And essentially the quarter position will be where my original stop was, but exiting 3/4 of the position into strength makes it a successful trade. A sexy, successful trade. So we also have to be cautious of a head and shoulders here. Right shoulder, head. If we bounce and just set a 4-hour lower high and then roll over, daily consolidation will continue. It's already underway. We lost the pattern of a higher low each day. So we're watching for a 4-hour lower high next bounce. And really there's two perspectives here. The daily time frame, I see a daily trend change with no bull follow through, and that tells me zoom out and scout the potential of a weekly lower high already being set. Anything under 41.3 is a lower high, and we're currently topping out at 36.7. But if I look at the 12-hour time frame, there's no major red flags here. We pretty much went straight up off of this move, 20%. We had some sideways consolidation mixed in there. But if I look at the size of this move and the size of the retracement of this move, and this is definitely some bull hopium, where bulls are hoping that we're going to keep this daily uptrend going. Trying to do my fibs here. Got some frankincense burning and it's messing with my throat. But this is still holding the 382 retracement. If we see another leg down and we get to the 50% retracement, then it's bulls not pleased with the size of the pullback. Pretty much the bulls need to show up from here right now and not confirm a 4-hour downtrend with a lower high and lower low. We're watching a 15-minute falling wedge in the short term where we've got a downtrending support line, we've got a downtrending resistance line, and we are tightening up. If this 4-hour falling wedge breaks bull, the 4-hour bounce is underway, and we zoom out and scout a 4-hour lower high. The bulls hope that the 4-hour bounce has enough retracement size to create space to then try and form a 4-hour high or low. But that's a pretty tall order for the bulls to fill. I mean, we need another 4 or 5% off of this low. So scouting a 15-minute falling wedge into a 4-hour lower high as the most likely scenario in the short term. Daily time frame is an uptrend. Anything above 30.1 is a higher low, but for every little new low of consolidation we see, it's going to be harder to see this daily uptrend continuation. Keep an eye on the volume. Increasing bear volume would definitely be a red flag, but not putting up the red flags just yet. Because again, daily trend change with a lack of follow through, absolutely, but we did go 20% with no consolidation. So consolidation has to take place eventually, and it's happening right now. As far as overnight, the miners yesterday were showing us a little bit of weakness as well. And we headed into the market close of stocks up near the high here. We knew 4-hour consolidation was coming. And it was a little bit more notable for me that the crypto stocks were giving us clues in an area where it was a 50-50, that we're going to break daily resistance and change the trend or reject and form an equilibrium. That's really a coin toss for me. But if I look at this 4-hour time frame into the close of the stock market yesterday, we know 4-hour consolidation is going to take place when the stock market is closed. So for me, that means it's more understandable that we see some profit taking in the stocks that are going to be closed all overnight because consolidation is likely shaping up. Bitcoin dominance chart. So the bulls gained confidence on this daily trend change when alts led the way. And again, I have this underlying bias from observation over the last multiple months. And it is essentially the altcoins need to lead the way for me to trust a bull move. When Bitcoin has been leading these bull moves, we don't see follow through. And when the altcoins have been leading the bull moves in 2021, that's when we see follow through. So the altcoin bulls showed up as Bitcoin was breaking resistance, but a bit before it. And they were showing more strength than Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin dominance chart is rejecting from weekly resistance. And we're looking at the low of 39.66, the high of 48.69, higher low, and we failed to break that high, and we are rejecting from weekly EMA resistance. We're not calling it a weekly lower high yet, but if we see continued bear follow through, we're in a little daily downtrend. The daily downtrend doesn't have a lot of follow through at this point. And again, if I'm a bull, I want to see this dominance chart keep dumping down, and I want to see the altcoins hold strong because that will give me more confidence that the daily uptrends can continue with follow through from here. So if I am a crypto bull, I want to see weekly lower highs and a tightening range here on this dominance chart for the next month plus, ideally. Reject, then we'll look for a weekly high or low. So again, there are clues. And shout out to Timber in the chat room who was all over the altcoin shift that was going on, as far as he was just doing what I do, is just stare at observations and how these coins are interacting with each other and recognizing that some notable shifts were taking place and that the bulls were showing up. ETH/USD. So again, this daily trend change is much more convincing because the altcoin bulls led the way and ETH/BTC bounced off a key support level. Daily trend change confirmed. And again, the follow through is very significant. If we're looking at how much we bounced from that low, 30% with no daily consolidation. And daily consolidation has not started on Ethereum. It's an inside bar. If the inside bar breaks, bear, we scout a daily high or low. But it's a tale of two charts, because if you show me that Bitcoin daily chart with a confirmed trend change straight into consolidation, and you show me this chart, I say, okay, bulls are fine. We'll look for a higher low next time we consolidate, and we'll see how much follow through the bulls can get on this bounce. Still in a pattern here of a lower high every week on Ethereum for the last 7 weeks. And bulls will have to keep this daily uptrend going to try and break that pattern. But it was the ETH BTC chart bouncing right off weekly support. And again, over the last 2+ weeks, just scouting. First, I was scouting the 3-day equilibriums, and then it just transformed to weekly equilibriums because enough time played out where that was the most clear setup. But it was our high, low, lower high, bounce right off support. Still not a convincing weekly double bottom. I need a confirmed daily trend change. So whenever this move tops out, we'll need a daily higher low and higher high. But right off that weekly support to remain in the equilibrium, and that is helping the ETH bulls keep out front of the Bitcoin bulls right now. And there's a lot of coins that have weekly equilibriums on both US dollar and BTC pairings. Binance BTC trying to set this weekly higher low as the US dollar pairing is trying to set that weekly higher low as well. I believe Matic is still attempting it. It's been one of the weaker coins recently, but still trying to work on that weekly higher low there. So there's a bunch of coins where that's the case. Link has a double bottom on its US dollar pairing, and its weekly is trying to form this weekly higher low. And if we are going to see these crypto bounces follow through for a couple weeks, in my opinion, we will have to see the altcoins lead the way, and these altcoin BTC pairings will have to see convincing weekly bounces. So the red flags for me are not going to be in the BTC USD price action. I can get clues there, and I can watch the volume and all that info. But the red flags for me are going to be if all of our lead alt bulls over the last 3 to 4 days, if they all start fading and start losing that momentum, then it's going to be a red flag for me. So right now, ETH USD, the 4-hour consolidation, there's no major red flags, and the ETH BTC pairing is even stronger. So I talk about the spotlight, where we want to see the alt bulls and the BTC pairings directly correlated and going up at the same time. This is even better, where the BTC pairing is stronger. It's hitting a high right now, where ETH USD is nowhere near that high. So that's your ideal scenario for being an altcoin bull, to see your individual coin significantly outperforming Bitcoin. As far as choosing who's going to be the best coin when a move takes place, we know that when it's a dump, the weakest coins will generally see the biggest percentage bounces. But as far as, this sideways daily range that just broke bull on Bitcoin, which coins are going to benefit the most? It's a little bit of luck, honestly, because sometimes you just see a scenario, and XRP did it, where volume just floods in out of nowhere on the US dollar and BTC pairing, and it was doing nothing that had it stand out as a bull. And then over the span of 4 hours, next thing you know, it's a lead bull and up twice as much as anybody on my screen. And it was just this 2-hour move here that just launched it. So that's one thing that starts taking place in the cryptocurrency space in a bullish environment. We see profits just target one coin at a time. It hasn't been significant over the last few days, but it was significant on XRP just yesterday when this happened. So if I want, again, that's another thing. If I want to have confidence in the cryptocurrency space for the bulls, I want to see these individual coins get their big bull move up and see the profits rotate to another coin, get that big bull move up. Because again, money rotating within the sector as opposed to leaving the sector are two very different things. So it's a little bit of luck to nail the strongest coin, because like I said, XRP didn't really give much indication that it was about to be up double-digit percentage. It was up 12% at one point, where most names were up 5-6%. And as far as I can tell, there was no indication that that was shaping up. ICP is getting a lot of attention for its volatility, and there's enough volume that it's definitely liquid. Hit a low of 28.26, 100% bounce, and then the bears have opportunity as well. We've seen a massive pullback after that 100% bounce. So a drop of 25%. So we will be looking for a daily high or low. Anything above 28.26, the bulls have a lot of space to work with. Hourly oversold bounce. We just got real close. Hourly RSI probably right above 30 into this bounce as the Bitcoin bulls are attempting this 15-minute falling wedge bull break. And if they get it, we'll be positioned well for ICP to see some decent bounce follow through. But we will need to see a big enough bounce to shape up a 4-hour trend change back to the bulls to try and set that daily higher low. And initially, we're just going to scout an hourly lower high, hourly EMA resistance, and anything under 49.13 would just be a lower high. So my style, if I'm playing these bounces, I'm exiting partial positions into the initial bounce, knowing that an hourly lower high is the most likely scenario, and then ideally placing a break-even stop under the low to try and allow it to play out. But there's no doubt about it. As far as the short-term next 12 hours are concerned, the burden of proof is absolutely on the bulls. SOL USDT, daily trend change confirmed, which means zoom out and scout a weekly lower high. We've got a nice weekly equilibrium here. High, low, lower high, held support, big bounce. That's over a 50% retracement. So a very impressive bounce. And the SOL BTC pairing on the weekly chart is showing us the same thing. Again, the names that have, the altcoins that have US dollar and BTC pairings forming weekly equilibriums, even if it's not a confirmed weekly high or low yet, but forming them, those are the names that are standing out and getting my attention for these weekly higher lows. Shib USDT, taking a couple member requests now, which is why I'm doing some coins I don't usually do. So Shib pretty much is a double top and a double bottom. 988, failed to break it by some decimal, and a double bottom. So double bottom of support, big bull move up, but a rejection. It's not a convincing rejection just yet because it's still a daily inside bar, but if we see a bear break of 8, many zeros and an 8, if that breaks, then equilibrium. And we'll scout the higher low, but it'll be a convincing rejection from resistance at that point. Matic USDT. This is standing out because we didn't break resistance. 125 was the top, and it doesn't get any easier for a bear than double top convincing rejection. And at this point, we've pulled back 20%, less than that, 15, 18% from that double top. And now it is all about $1 support. Bulls must form a daily higher low compared to $1, and the BTC pairing has been nothing but bears. That being said, it looks like a falling wedge to me. And I like how these BTC pairings have had some nice falling wedges, and generally their moves have been short term as they break from these falling wedges, but they're worthwhile to pay attention to. So a scenario here would be if Matic USDT is going to set a daily higher low compared to $1, bulls want to see this falling wedge on the BTC pairing break bull. And we need to get over 3, 4, 5, 6 for that bull break to be taking shape. Keep an eye on the altcoins. In my opinion, they are the key to confidence in this weekly bounce attempt in the cryptocurrency space. They need to lead the way. Bitcoin dominance wants to stay dropping, and the altcoin BTC pairings want to stay strong. Do good things. Have a good day. See you soon. That it has been in a while. Now this week, the last 2 days, it's right back to that inverse relationship being extremely strong. So it was almost tick for tick today, where if QQQ was consolidating, XLF was trying to bounce and vice versa. So the NASDAQ futures chart 4-hour bull flag to start the day, confirming with follow through. QQQ all-time highs continue. Most things were flat on my screen today. Nothing really stood out as far as growth and tech. Tech was down and flat, but Apple bulls really stood out. And it's almost like Apple was doing all of the heavy lifting for QQQ to be green today. And if you just go through all the other tech names, that's Apple. We got Google was in the red. Facebook consolidation day. Netflix break even essentially. Amazon slightly green. So really it was Apple that stood out for the bulls. I like Google bearish if we see any broader market weakness. This to me is a tired chart. All-time highs. Look at us just trading sideways here. It's like they're just